Come on guys, let's learn firewall and DNS in Linux today. So let's start with that. So first switch to the root user using sudo su hyphen. Then we have the command called as ufw. Ufw means uncomplicated firewall. Then I have the command called as status to check the status of that particular ufw. Now the status is inactive. To enable the ufw, we have the command called as ufw enable. Press Y, then firewall is active now. If I run again ufw status, it will now the status is active. Similarly, if I want to disable ufw, I can just run ufw disable. So you can see firewall is stopped and disabled. So if I again enable it, now it should enable. Type Y, then if I again check the status, now the status is active. Now if I want to allow some specific port, I can run the command called as ufw, then allow, then the port number. For example, for SSH, I can run 22. Now if I run ufw status, it should list the rule I have allowed, that is 22 port. Also while allowing the port, I can specify the protocol also, like TCP, UDP and other things. So for example, ufw allow, I want to allow port 80 and the protocol will be TCP. Again, if I run ufw status now, you can see 80 port is also added and the protocol will be TCP. Also you can see for each port there are two rules, because one is for IPv4 and another one is for IPv6. Similar to allowing the port, I can deny the specific port also. For example, ufw deny, I want to deny 8080 port and the protocol is TCP. Now 8080 port will be denied. Here allow or deny rules is for incoming traffic. And now if I run ufw status, I should have both allow and deny rule. The deny rule is 8080 and you can see action is denying. Also you can delete any one of these rules now. For example, I can run ufw delete, then the rule deny 8080/TCP. If I run this, that rule will be deleted. Now if I run ufw status, before that I will clear my screen, then ufw status. Now you can see only these rules are 22 and 80 rule is there, that 8080 rule is deleted because I ran ufw delete. Also instead of port, I can allow the specific IP also. For that I can run ufw allow from, then the IP address, for example 192.68.1.10. So ufw allow from, then the IP address. So in port we don't add from, but in IP address we have to add from. Now if I run ufw status, so for this rule I didn't specify any port, that's why here you can see the anywhere, then the action is allow, then the from will be the IP address instead of anywhere. So from this IP all the port will be allowed. Also you can run ufw status numbered. So for each of this rule there will be one number will be attached. Now for example, I want to delete this particular rule, then I can just run ufw delete, then the number 3. So this rule will be deleted. Now again I can confirm with yes. Now if I run ufw status numbered, I have only these rules. Also you can allow specific IP as well as specific port. For example, now ufw allow from this particular IP to any port 80. If I run this, one rule will be added. Now if I run ufw status, you can see 80 port for this particular IP is allowed. Also in ufw you can set up default rules. For example, ufw default, I want to deny all incoming traffic. For that I can run deny incoming. So by default this incoming traffic will be denied for this particular instance. So now you can see default incoming policy changed to deny. Similarly, I can run ufw default allow outgoing. So all the outgoing traffic will be allowed by default. So you can see default outgoing policy is changed to allow. So like this you can modify the default policy for ufw. Also you can enable the logging for the ufw. For that you can run ufw logging on. So now the logging will be enabled for ufw. Generally log will be stored in /var/log, then the ufw.log file. So if I tail this particular file, so you can see the firewall logs here. Then if you want to reset everything about ufw, then you can just run ufw reset, then type Y. So now EFW will go to the reset mode. So you can see all of these rules will be stored in this particular backup files. So that's it about firewall. Let's check the DNS now. So DNS means domain name system. It is very critical network configuration in Linux. The job of DNS is translating human readable domain names to an IP address. So it translates domain names like www.google.com to an IP address like 8.8.8.8. So generally DNS will be added into one of the file called as resolve.config file. So resolve.conf file. If I cat that particular file, you can see here name server options and search here. So this instance will use this particular name server to translate the domain names into the IP address. So here 127.0.0.53 is my name server. Also you can manually map the host name with the IP address by modifying the etc host file. So let's modify that particular file using vi etc hosts. So these are the default entries in this particular file. Here you can see localhost is mapped to 127.0.0.1 IP address. Here you can add any manual entries. For example, I have added one entry called as this particular IP address I have mapped to this particular host name. Then you can save this particular file using :wq. Let's check out some of the network commands. For example, I can run host, then google.com. The host is first command I am going to run now. So this will give the IP address for this particular host. That is host is google.com and the IP address will change. So you can use host command for DNS lookup. Then to verify the connectivity, we can run the command called as ping. Then the host name, that is google.com. You can see packets are transferred here. You can see each packet will be delivered in this particular milliseconds. So for connectivity check, you can use ping command. Then for DNS resolution, we have the command called as nslookup, then the domain name, that is google.com. If I run nslookup, you can see these are the IP addresses for this particular domain name, that is google.com domain name. Then there is a DNS query tool, that is DAG. Then I can run the domain name dagoogle.com. So you can see the DNS mapping details here. Also using DAG you can filter the records also. For example, I want to filter only MX record. So MX record means mail exchange records. If I run this, you can see only the MX record here. So smtp.google.com, this is the mail exchange server for the google.com. So last command I can run, that is traceroute google.com. So traceroute is not installed now, so I can install this apt install command. Let's run this. It will start installing this particular traceroute now. Now if I run traceroute google.com, so you can see how the traffic is transferred using the traceroute command. So that's it for today. Subscribe and check out other videos too.